So after completing the acquisition of rival Union Bank of Nigeria's London unit, Fidelity Bank, Nigeria's best-performing bank share this year, wants to expand in at least 5 more African countries. The CEO, Nneka Onyealikpe, stated that the 35-year-old lender is in negotiations for a second acquisition, but did not specify the prospective buyer. The lender anticipates concluding the deal this year, she said. According to Onyealikpe, the Nigerian lender is interested in nations in West, East, and Southern Africa. Fidelity Bank stock has increased 32% this year, making it the best-performing bank on the Nigerian exchange. Arise Business Analyst Chika Mbonu joins me now from our Lagos studios. Chika, good morning, bright and early Monday. I love it. Let's start with Dangote. What are you refining? The D-Day is just around the corner. What are your impressions? Talk to me.
Well, morning, Bosun. You're ruling with the Abuja people there. We're here in Lagos, covering you.
Sitting where the refinery is.
May borrow the word of some people in this government. Dangote is about to prove the naysayers wrong. A lot of people said, "Oh, this is a white elephant project, and this is not going to happen. This day will not come." And we thank God that the day is almost coming. A massive project. Let me tell you something. The day that I went on tour there with Mr. Femi Oteodola and the MD of African Development Bank, Dr. Adeshino, who arrived there around 7 a.m. in the morning. And by 6 p.m., we had not gone more than 50% of the site. That tells you about the humongous project that Alhaji Aliko Dangote took upon. You know, I was asking him when I was going around there, I said, how do you sleep? How do you sleep? Before this refinery, you were already a multi-billionaire. You're already the richest person in Africa. How could you carry on this project? Because in other countries, before you start this kind of project, it's normally plug and play. But literally everything that the plant needed, or Alhaji Aliko had to recreate it, whether it's power, whether it's water, whether it's irrigation, whatever it needed, had to be made anew. Other countries, it's plug and play. 650 capacity to process 650,000 barrels of crude every day. That's about the largest you can think about in Africa. See, there's no adjective to describe the refinery. Every adjective they're going to use in describing it is always the largest, the biggest, the number one, world class, and so on and so forth. So capacity is about 650,000 barrels crude processing capacity every day to produce across 5 product lines about 99 million liters daily. Those product lines are gasoline, which you and me know as petrol or PMS, and then diesel, that me and you know. We have also aviation fuel, and then you have polypropylene as the product. And the interesting thing I want to let you know now is this, that the 99 million liters daily capacity output is more than enough to meet Nigerian demand, which is about 61 million liters now. Even though me and you know that demand is a bit skewed. So what do we say? 177,000 tanks, 4,800 billion liters of capacity, 2,900 tanks loading capacity. Everything in the refinery is just the largest, the biggest, the world class. It can process all the types of crude from around the world, whether it's African crude, Middle Eastern crude, or even US light crude. So we thank God that this day is almost coming. As we read, the production will be moved, just like every plant, gently up until they reach full capacity. So we commend Dangote and we commend Nigeria as we get there.
I know this is quite huge, and I remembered a couple of years ago when Aliko Dangote brought all the international banks and local partners in for the signing of this agreement here at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel in Abuja. So, and as you said, some folks never thought this day would come, but here we are. How will the coming on of this huge refining capacity facility impact the business, the subsidy debate that is ongoing in Nigeria? We're working our way to June the 1st, and as of today, we still do not have a clear picture, as it were, as to where we're going with subsidy from June the 1st.
Answer directly. Dangote is a private investor, and is going to buy crude from Nigeria at the market rates, and is going to process it the way a typical processing plant that from where we are importing fuel will now we process it. And the fuel that will come out will be sold at market rates and not subsidized rates. So Nigerians don't expect Aliko Dangote to sell fuel directly to Nigerians at subsidized rates, or that will not happen. Now, if the government wants to, or government of Nigeria wants to continue to give Nigerians subsidized fuel, they have to buy from Dangote at market rates and then sell it to Nigerians at subsidized rates. But what the country is going to gain from the refinery coming on stream is that instead of waiting for ships to land from overseas countries, taking almost 60 days turnaround time, we can just walk across to the refinery in the Lekki processing zone and get our petrol, and which is the advantage. So supply will be guaranteed, and supply will be in the neighborhood. It's easier to buy pepper and tomatoes in the neighborhood market if you are living over here than going to Mile 2 to go and buy the product, and it's going to be cheaper. So for Nigerians, supply is guaranteed, and I guess transportation costs that would have cost us from bringing the petrol from abroad may be eliminated, but nobody should expect Aliko Dangote to sell the fuel at subsidized rates. It won't happen. If the government wants to continue to sell fuel to Nigerians at subsidized rates, they will buy from the refinery at market rates and sell to Nigerians at subsidized rates.
If you ask me, Chika, I think that's a little bit better than spending so much dollars, handing them over to the refineries in Hamburg and elsewhere, and paying the cost, freight, insurance, and all of that. Like you said, we can keep that money here. Some of us don't mind if we give that money to Aliko because it's creating jobs locally. So that helps us, and it's going to be paying tax locally, by the way. But anyway, let's talk about the Max Air near disaster. The AON has protested over the sensitization of this Max Air incident on social media and all that at the Abuja airport. Are you an aviation watcher? What are your impressions about this near fatal event yesterday at the Abuja International Airport?
The first thing is that I don't want to understate what the passengers could have gone through, but let me put it out there. I think I have some reasonable knowledge of aviation and the issues. And there are issues, the differences between incident and accident. Now, the first thing is this, that when we knew the pilot's name that was in charge of that aircraft, everybody was comfortable because he was a very experienced pilot, and then one of the best, his training captain actually for in the airline. So Nigeria is blessed with so many very good pilots, and so we knew that whatever happened, he was going to get the passengers home safe and sound. Now, the other thing that happened that is up here, impression I want to give is flat tires. Things happen in aviation. You can lose an engine, you can have flat tires, you can even have what they call hydraulic leak. You can even, some wingspans may break. Now, a lot of those things have been anticipated. The issue at the end of the day is the outcome. How did he end? Now, this for Max Air ended very well. Now, the analogy I give to Nigerian, to a lot of passengers is that when you leave your house every day and you drive your car, you enter so many potholes. Do you think that you're going to just die, when you're going to work? It doesn't happen. When you have a flat tire in your car, is it an accident that you have? No, it's not an accident. You change your flat tire and you move on. That's similar to what happened to this airline. Because what happened is that the plane managed to got on the ground. The tires were blown. They put on new tires, and then the plane on its own engine moved to the apron and parked. And that's how it happened. Nothing happened, nobody was injured. So in aviation parlance, this is actually an incident, not an accident. But Nigerians are used to panicking because we know we have had a history of horrible plane accidents in the country where families lost people. You may remember I'm also a survivor of plane crash in Nigeria. The Okada crash that happened in Sokoto in 1996. I know I still live with the experience. But this crash that happened brings up some issues that I want to put to the table here. The first thing is this, that when it happened on the Abuja continues to be a single runway airport. With this incident that happened there, the airport was closed down, and there was no movement until the aircraft was put out of the runway. So you can identify with Minister Sirika's struggle and all this while to make Abuja a two-runway airport. If that had been done, it wouldn't have disrupted the flight. People would have continued to move their flights. And can you imagine yesterday, if our president had to rush out, move out of the country, he couldn't have done that also. So I also recommend for our president, they need to move one of the aviation, private presidential jets, maybe to Katsina or to Kaduna, so that when you have something like this, the president can use a helicopter and get to that place. So for Nigerian aviation, I identify with the AON that when the journalists write, they should not over-sensationalize these things. This is an incident, not an accident. I remember I was coming to Abuja one early morning flight, and because of the number of flights that come into Abuja in the morning, we had to hover until it was our turn. I remember that a lot of passengers were apprehensive, and when we finally landed, I heard one passenger calling somebody that we really will survive a plane crash now. But that's how Nigerian people report it. And this that happened wasn't an accident. It's more of an incident. The tires were changed, and the aircraft was moved on its own power over to the apron. I believe that NCAA, the Nigerian Bureau of Investigation, Accident Investigation, will all look at this and make sure that we learn the lessons from it.
Thank you so much, Chika Mbonu. And I think the pilot of this Max Air deserves a whole lot of commendation as well. You remember the Hudson River plane landing a number of years ago in New York, in the US. This also requires a whole lot of commendation for the pilot who landed the plane very safely with one of his tires busting while taking off in another part of the country. Thank you so much, Chika Mbonu. Have a great week ahead for touching base with us.